Hello everyone, welcome to the history class. Today we are going to discuss about the first chapter of history, and the chapter number is 8, and the name is Studying the Past. Starting the past. Past means earlier times. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the term history. What is the meaning of the word history? What is the definition of history? Why do we study history? What is the benefit? What is the importance of studying history? This thing also we have to find out. And also that is history is divided into some divisions according to the time. That is like history has two divisions in time, that is BCE and CE. History has two divisions according to the writing skills invention, that is history and free history. Everything we'll discuss one by one, and at last we'll discuss today's class, that is sources of history. That means from where we have got the information, because in history we were discussing about that is past. So at that time we were not there. So how is it possible to know about our past, whatever the things happened in our earlier times, how these things that is described systematically in history. So students, let's begin. First of all, think that have you ever wondered, have you ever asked to yourself that how did people live in past? What kind of houses did they live? What did they eat? What kind of clothes did they wear? What kind of language they used to speak? What kind of religion they followed? If you have not thought, now you have to think, now you have to ask, and also you have to find out the answer. Now the question that it is not possible to know everything about your past. How could you get the knowledge? And the thing is here, so that's why one question may arise, that is who can solve these problems, who can give the answer of these questions. What are the questions? How did people live in past? What kind of houses did they live? What did they eat? What kind of clothes did they wear? What kind of language they used to speak? What kind of religion they followed? So who can give all the answers of these all questions? And that is the one and only name, that is history. The study of history helps us to find all the answers to all these questions. Let us find out how is it possible to get all the questions answered from one term, that is history. So let us know about history at first. Look at the word history. Can you find out any hidden words present? Yes, there are two hidden words present. One that is HIS, his, and another that is STORY, story. His and story. His means here we are indicating whom? We are indicating to the earlier people, to the ancient people. And story means what? Events, incidents, whatever the things happened in the past, this is called a story. So the literal meaning of history is events, incidents of the past related to the ancient people, earlier times. Or another thing we can say, the story of people who lived in earlier times. So this is clear. So this is the literal meaning. That means history has two hidden words. One that is his means here we are indicating to the people. Which type of people? The people of earlier times, ancient people. And story about whom? Story about the ancient people, and that is events, incidents, etc. But everything about the past, earlier times. Now come to the next. Now we will discuss about the definition of history. Here, first of all, the word history comes from the Greek word which called as historia. From which Greek word the word history has come? That is historia. Historia means what? To inquire, to research, to ask. To inquire, you are searching something, you are asking something, that is called as inquire or to research. you are finding, you are searching, you want to know something, that is called as historia. Clear? That is the from where the word history has come. Now come to the definition. First definition, history is the study of change. Change means different type of progress, different type of variation, time to time change. History is the study of change over time. That means from one time to another time, what type of change occurred, this thing also, and what type of progress, what type of development occurred in the past, and gradually this thing come to the present world also. This thing we have to find out. That means in general way, history is the study of the past, history is the study of the earlier times, but here we have to include that is time. We have to read the history, we have to discuss the history according to the time. Second thing, it can be defined as a systematic description. Already we have got the information in the first one, that whenever we are discussing about the past in history, we have to take help of which thing, that is time. That means systematically we have to discuss. We cannot say that we are discussing today about this one, next day about that is so that's why it can be defined as a systematic description of the past event. It is based on facts. Another important thing, history is not any thing which is based on imagination, that it is not like dream. It is not like that you are you are thinking it is not based on your imagination. Always remember, whatever the things you are learning in history, that has a solid background, that has a solid base, it has a proof also, that's why it is called as it is based on facts, not on imagination. Now come to the next. Now the question that you may ask to me, that why do we need to study history? What is the benefit? What is the importance? The first point is here, it teaches about the past. Already we discussed, history deals with the past events, history deals with the earlier times, events, incidents. That's why it is also. But another thing, what is the benefit to know about the past? Because whatever the good things, whatever the bad things happen in past, we can take a lesson from these good and bad, from these positive and negative things, and we can build our the present, we can build our future better. That's why it is the first point. Second point, it motivates us to make the present world better place to live in. Yes, with the help of history we can make our present world better, because whatever the mistake we already did in past, these things will not be not be repeated. And also side by side, that we will take the good things from the past and we will implement these good things in our present world, present time life, and will make our present life better. Third thing, it helps us to learn about the great people, culture, art, architecture of the earlier times. Yes, it is also important, that if I'll tell you about the name Aryabhat, that is what, that about this famous person, from where you got the information, that is history. Yes, that's why. Fourth number point, to know and fully understand the world we live in, we have to be aware of the past. That means whatever the present world present in front of you, whatever the things present, if we want to know about these things, then we must know about the past. Because everything based on the past. Whatever the things, that means now you are in the present world, but this present world has a base, has a background, and who is this background? That is past. That's why you have to read or study the history. Now come to the next. Whenever we are talking about the term history or the word history, at that time side by side we must know about the term that is called as historians. Who are historians? A historian is a person who studies and writes about the people and events in the past. That means whatever the things you are getting from the history, these things are written, these things are discussed by whom? That is historians. Historians are just like, that is, they are conveying the message, whatever the things they are getting, whatever the things they are getting from the sources of information they are explaining, then we are getting the information from the history book. That's why historian is a person who studies and writes about the people and events in the past. Like one picture is given, Herodotus, he is called as the father of history. Now come to the next, divisions of history. History has two divisions. It based on the things that is called as writing skill, invention of writing skill. Student, it is a matter of surprise but very interesting thing that before the 3500 BC we were unknown about the writing skill. That means at that time, before the 3500 BCE, we were not knowing how to write down the things, how to express the thing by writing. This type of skill was not developed, not even invented before 3500 BCE. What is BCE? I am coming in the next slide. So before that, whatever the things we were that is doing with the help of two things, that is listening and memorization. Which two skills were there? Listening and memorization. So this period when we could not develop the writing skill, this period is known as what? Prehistory. But from the 3500 BCE we invented the writing skill, and it was invented where? In Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia means it is located in Iraq. Maximum part of Mesopotamia is located in Iraq. So from 3500 BCE we started to use which skill? That is called as writing skill, and from that time in our history a new era started, that is called as historical era. Clear? So there are two types of time present, one that is prehistorical time, another that is historical time. Prehistorical time means before the invention of writing skill. That means at that time we were conveying our messages not by writing, only by speaking, and also by listening, and also by memorization. But from the 3500 BCE we invented, that is writing skill, and from that time we started to use the writing skill also side by side. That means listening, memorization, writing and speaking all came into use from 3500 BCE. So history has two divisions, prehistory, that means when there was no skill of writing, and history means when there was the use of skill of writing. So let us find out the differences. History is the study of the past based on the written records of the past, because in historical period we already developed the skill, that is written skill. And prehistory is the study of the period of time before written records. Information can be gained about history through written records, and information can be gained about prehistory through ancient carvings. Carvings means making designs. Artifacts means like tools, which tools means that human beings changing a thing into a new type of thing by changing its shape, like making of tools. It may be tools of bones, tools of stones. These are called as artifacts. And third one, history is the time period after prehistory, and prehistory is the time period before history. Yes, it is right. Prehistory at first, then who came? That is history. Now come to the next. dates in history. I have already told in previous slide that in the next slide I will discuss about the BCE and CE. So history has two things, one that is BCE, what is the full form, before the common era, and CE, common era. But previously the BCE was called by the name BC, that means before Christ, and CE was called by the name that is AD, Anno Domini. Clear? So now the BC is called by the name BCE, before the common era, and AD is called by the name CE, that means common era. So in easy way, that means BC means it is the time before the birth of the Jesus Christ, and AD means after the birth of the Jesus Christ. That's why it is called as before Christ, that means before the birth of the Christ. And Anno Domini, Anno Domini means the full form of Anno Domini, or the, if you convert this Anno Domini word into English, then it is called as in the year of our Lord Jesus Christ. In the year of our Lord Jesus Christ, that means the time when Jesus Christ took birth. From that time, which era, which time or which term is applied, that is Anno Domini. But Anno Domini now it is called by the name CE, common era, and BC is called by the name now BCE, before the common era. So always remember, BC means before the birth of the Jesus Christ, and AD means Anno Domini, it is from the birth of the Jesus Christ. So there are two times present in history, one that is BCE, before the common era, and CE, common era. So to understand this scale, let us find out from the right hand side example. So let us see in the first example that thing, one building started to construct in the 500 BCE, and it it was completed in 200 BCE. So what I have told, it was started to construct, the beginning of construction, that was 500 BCE, and it completed its construction, that is in 200 BC. So how many years it took to for the completion? That is 300 years in the first example. Second example, that is that one building started to construct in 500 BCE, and then it was completed in 200 CE. Take a look here, 2 years present, one that is BCE, another that is CE. So 500 BC it is the beginning, and 200 CE it is the ending. So how many years it took? 500 plus 200 equal to 700 years. So this thing also you have to remember. Clear? So if you have any doubt, you can put up the query, and I will try to solve the problem. Now come to the next topic, that is sources of history. Already we have discussed what is the term history, what is the literal meaning of history, from which word the history comes, and also the definition of history, and also later we discuss the division of history. It is defined to history and prehistory. Next we discuss that is this dates of history, that means BCE and CE. Now the next question, that next thing, our next topic we are going to discuss, and it is very important because we are discussing about the past, and at that time we were not there. So some sources of informations are there who help us to know about our past. Who are they? There are two types of sources present. Left hand side, that is called known by the name literary sources. Literary sources means it is related to different type of books, written records. Like there are two types of literary sources present, religious and secular or non-religious. Religious means it is related to the different type of religious books, religious activities. Like if I'll give you the example Ramayana, it is called as literary sources. Take a look, Ramayana, Mahabharata, these are called as religious literature because these are related to which religion? Hindu religion, that's why. So literary sources are two types, religious, non-religious. Later we will discuss about this thing. Now come to the next, another type of source, that is called as archaeological sources. Archaeological sources means what? These are archaeological sources means here we are using or taking help of that type of things which were used by the earlier people, like here written coins or monuments. These were built by the earlier people or ancient people. These things also we have to uh, find out to know about the past. So sources, there are two sources, archaeological sources, that means inscriptions, that means when we are writing something on the wall of the temple, on the pillar of any buildings, that is called as inscription. Use of coins also, coins were made by at that time mainly three types of metals, bronze, silver and gold. If gold coin, then its value is more. If it is bronze coin, then its value is less. And if it is silver coin, then its value is more than the bronze coin but less than the gold coin. Like monuments also, like Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar, these are also archaeological sources. And literary sources means different type of books. It may be related to religion, it may be related to other things except religion, like science, like maths, like medicine, etc. That is called as non-religious literature or secular literature. So come one by one. First of all, monuments. What is called as monuments? A building, structure or site that is of historical importance. One example is given, Taj Mahal. So what is the historical importance of Taj Mahal? It is the jewel of Muslim art in India, one of the universally admired masterpieces of the world's heritage, and also it is one of the best example of Mughal architecture, Mughal Empire, Mughal architecture, and a symbol of India's rich history. So this Taj Mahal told so many things about our past. That's why it has great importance. Monuments are the remains of temples, palaces, forts, etc. Not only Taj Mahal, there are so many other examples present like Sanchi Stupa, Qutub Minar, Red Fort, these are all called as monuments, and these are trying to say something about the past. It may be social, it may be cultural, it may be religion, it may be economic life of the past of the ancient people. Now come to the next, inscriptions. Inscriptions means what? When we are writing anything on the rocks, on the pillars, on the walls of the temples and caves, these writings are engraved. That is called as what? Inscription. So what is the importance of inscription? Inscription also told us so many things, like they tell us about the kings, their empires, their achievements, as well as the society and the language of that word at that period. So here another interesting thing you should know, that is epigraphy. What is called as epigraphy? Epigraphy means when we are starting the inscription, this thing is called as epigraphy. The study of inscription is called as epigraphy. The study of inscription is called as epigraphy. Okay, so what is inscription? Inscription means when we are writing something on the rock, on the pillars, clay tablets, walls of the temples, caves. Writing means here in the form of engraved. Just one example is given in the right hand side, like that. That is called as inscription. It has also great value in the history, in the study of the history. It provides us so many informations, like inscriptions of Asoka, great Asoka, the king, great Asoka. Now come to the next, numismatics, the study of coins. So what is called as numismatics? When we are studying about the coins, I have already told that in earlier times coins were mainly made by three types of metals: bronze, silver, and that is gold. Sometimes that copper was also used, but mainly that is the value of the coins decided on the basis of three things: bronze, silver, and gold. I have already told gold means it has highest value, silver means it is lower than the gold but higher than the bronze, and bronze means it is the lowest one. And also coins were made by leather also. So what is the importance of coin? They give us useful information about the art, religion, rulers. Like here one example given in the right hand side, coins of Gupta dynasty. The use of different metals, because I have told that so many metals were used in ancient time to make the coins, like copper, bronze, iron, silver, gold. Level of development of the technology, that means we have converted the metal into coin. That means what? We have used the technology in the ancient time also. That is the evidence. Now come to the next, literary sources. Literary sources means all types of written records of the past are known as literary sources. All types of, it may be religious, it may be non-religious. They are very important for the historians before the invention of paper, because in the beginning, in the earlier times, there was no use of paper. So at that time, where did they write? They wrote on dried palm leaves, bhojpatras, copper plates, etc. Now come to the next, division of literary sources. Already discussed, there are two divisions present: religious literature, non-religious. Religious means related to the religion, like Ramayana, Mahabharata. Which religion? Hindu religion. And non-religious, like Kautilya's Arthashastra. These are related to economics, these are related to science, these are related to maths. These are not these are not dealing with any type of religion. These are not related to any religious activity, just giving us knowledge. Except this also, the travel accounts, biography, autobiography, these are also non-religious or secular literature. So that's all for today. Next day we will discuss about the question answer of exercise. If you have any query, feel free to contact, and you are advised to write down the class notes from the previous PDF file I have already attached with this video, and separate link is also given for the PDF file. Thanks and have a great day.